Let's just meditate just for a minute. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. Good evening again, everyone, and thank you for those who are switching on their video. It feels like I'm talking to you, and I prefer to talk to you as opposed to giving a satsang to a web camera. We used to joke that we don't know about us, but the web cameras are certainly going to get enlightened soon because of this COVID, because they are so energetically listening to all of it. So thank you again. I'm very, very happy and lucky to be spending this time with all of you. And so today we will talk a little bit about the sixth Seva principle, well, sixth according to the booklet, which is see Divine Mother in those you serve. And this is actually something not very new. I'm sure all of you who have been already serving, especially in the type of seva that you're doing at the moment with Yogananda Trust. This seems very obvious. So I won't talk much about that, but there is a lot more to be learned from this particular principle, which can be very relevant to our own life. So I want to start with the story from Mother Teresa's life. I think we all know Mother Teresa, isn't it? But there are lots of good movies on her life, so I used to watch and actually watched many of them. So my knowledge of Mother Teresa is through the movies. But so in one of those times, so Mother Teresa was actually Sister Teresa before she became mother. And then she had a calling to become a nun at very young age, like when maybe she was 16, 17. So she told her parents, I think her sister was already a part of one of the convents. So the parents were already prepared. So the moment she went, and then quite some time she was part of that monastery or the nunnery, you may say. And so her life was also like that. She joined that monastery, and then they have a particular way to express their seva. So she used her seva was teaching children. Very noble cause, isn't it? All these children, whoever would come, and then that was Mother Teresa, Sister Teresa, then used to do. And of course, any other responsibility. So she was sort of mother to all these children, which were part of their convent. And in that, one of the times when she was just going on the street, she sees this very poor fellow beggar almost looking into her eyes and asking for something. And at that moment, something moves in her heart, and then she felt, yeah, I should do something for them. But she couldn't understand how come, because I have already committed to something. My heart is already sold. I'm already doing this. So she suffered through that phase. Her heart was calling for every time when she would go anywhere. But she couldn't figure out what is the right way to look at it. I am already doing a seva, so why should this particular seva would be relevant to me? And she wasn't Indian, as you know. So something like that doing in India in those times was something unforeseeable. So many people actually advise her also, okay, are you out of your mind? Don't do this. This is not yours. You're already doing nice things here. Just continue doing that. But her heart wasn't at content. and she couldn't actually pinpoint ki what was it that the heart was calling to. So she took a seclusion. We also do the same, no? And our path also we say ki whenever there is a confusion, Lord, when in darkness, Lord, in confusion, always I follow thee. So she also did the same. She didn't know the chant, but she knew the principle. And she went somewhere, and then there she prayed and prayed. That was one of their practice also, no? And there she had this vision. What was her vision? That the same beggar who was actually begging to her comes to her, and then tells her. And there, instead of the beggar now, she's seeing Jesus, who's saying, "Can't you see it is me who is on the street?" And in that moment, everything gets settled. She understands it is not that it is asking me to particular type of seva. She says, it is me. Why is there even a question of you for you in your heart or in your mind? You're not serving the beggar there, or you're not serving the poorest of the poor. You're serving me. And that changed everything for her. And then after that, there was no turning back. She said, I will take care of any possible problems that organizational, let it be, or cultural, let it be. And of course, she faced all of them. But it wasn't the problem because it was Jesus Christ calling her through that body. And that's how she served all throughout, you see. And that is the crux of this thing. It is not that she wasn't personal with them. Hmm. Of course, how can you not know some person is crying there or telling you the story? You got to listen to the person. But she never forgot that it is not just the person, but there is Jesus Christ in that body that she is serving. And that gave her like such a impossible, unshakable faith and a joy throughout that service. So through that, she was able to carry forward through all the challenges. And see, this is the crux of why we want to see Divine Mother. Like I know many of you personally also. Some of you also know me personally. What's wrong with that? Absolutely, there is nothing wrong. Like if Jaita was here recently, and then we did something together because we are friends. If I meet Divisha somewhere, we'll go and have a coffee. What is there wrong or anything? The only problem when we look at something personally is it's personal, meaning it is limited. Hmm. Like a person to person, we say, oh, I like this person. Because why? My preferences are sort of met when I meet that person. But if the person changes, then all of a sudden, we sometimes make a joke of level 2 students here. You see, if you want to be always happy, get married. And if they are meditating, they open their eyes like, "Hey, what is he saying?" Especially those who are married, they say, "Hey, what is he saying?" But everybody thinks like that, isn't it? Now, why is it that anyone that we really, really, truly love from our heart doesn't bring the same love all the time? And I think some of you who are married are again like silently smiling in your heart because you understand persons change. Personality is not a constant factor. So if we are going to serve a person, then we expect then also, okay, I am serving you. You at least be grateful to me. At least don't at least say foul language. No, think what to what extent can we go? There's another saint. This is in his biography. So he wasn't saint then, master has written his autobiography where he went to many saints and visiting. Na? So this saint also in his young adult phase went to another saint, or rather his guru says we are going to meet today in Varanasi to some other saint. And he says, okay. And so they went, and then they saw that there was a lady, and she was trying to get into a home, but the guy on the other side was just yelling foul language, abuses, very, very harsh language to her. And this our person, they're like, what is happening here? Who is that guy? So his guru says, that's the one we are going to meet. He said, like, that one? We couldn't understand because it's like this is such a huge language. The lady wanted to be his disciple, so that's why she had been warned. The guy will try to scare you away. You just stay put. So she stood, put, he was saying bad thing, but she said, no, no, Maharaj, I still want to be your disciple. He went on and on to the degree that it was completely inappropriate even to talk to another lady. Finally, the lady couldn't take it anymore. He said, like, what kind of a man you are? This is the language you said. I don't think you can be anybody's guru. So she just stormed out. And the moment she stormed out, the guy became quiet. And then he pointed to the come. And then our guy and his guru went, and then they said, Pranam. He said, oh, I have to keep the other just curious people away from me. And this is his way, you see. And again, I'm not trying to criticize that lady or anything, because when we talk about saints, my mother and me, we sometimes have conversations. And she also became Kriyaban during the COVID time. So now I have a big say in whatever I have to say. You see, she has to listen now. But so we try to tell sometimes, ki, oh, uh, you have to practice and you have to be like, become like them. But she always says, ki, no, but, and I give an examples of some saints from Maharashtra. She says, how Tukaram did it, how Dhaneshwar did it. She resonates with them. But they were saints. But and if I try to tell her, but they were not born saints, they became saints, but that doesn't necessarily resonate with her. Hmm. And this is, see, part of our mind is also like that. We try to like to create saints so that we can put their pictures and then put our background, so that I don't have to use this fake background. But they will be on the wall, and we will be humble devotees. That is our comfort zone, isn't it? Whenever there is a trouble, we will go to them, so that they will fix it all for us. Again, we were talking about Mother Teresa. One of the example in the story she told also is, she was saying, some guy came to her and then telling her about problems, and she said, oh, but this is the way you have to deal with it. But then finally he thought she's not listening, so he said, mother, but you are mother, that's why you just saying all these things, you're a saint. But then she very categorically asked him, then why are you not one? And she wasn't trying to say, ki, oh, yes, I am a saint and you also become one big deal or anything like that. See, saintlyhood is not a degree. It is not that one day we will all become orange clad and then we will glad and and everybody will come for our darshan. That is not the saintlyhood that they talk about. When she said become saint, is like you see the divine not only outside, it's in you. Why are you going and putting pictures on everywhere? Hmm? If there is a divine in you, can recognize, only then actually you can see the divine in the others also. And that is why I wanted to see this as a multiple layers, this particular aphorism, if you may say. See, because as long as we're relating to the other person in a personal realm, like that lady was, probably she was sincere. She also went prepared. Okay, this person is going to use foul language, but she couldn't take it because she hasn't actually understood that behind that form, how to look there. Saintlyhood, generally, we also put it in a framework. Ki saints, how do they look? They're always smiling, joyful, a polite language, and this is how they look. Not the one who uses foul language, not the one who does any kind of strange things. That is framing saintliness in that. But only when we say ki saintliness is not an outward facade, it is what they know from inside. What is actually that spark of divinity which is in every one of us. And when we look like that, then it becomes easier to look at the other person also in the same light. Not as a person, but a person to, as they say, presence. I think there is a story where somebody was, I don't remember who, but they were complaining to Babaji, ki, why is there so much violence and so much terrible people on this planet? Like, why don't you do anything about them? How can you let these kind of people exist? To which he very simply says, ki, you see, but they are also my children. Mhm. There is nothing absolute goodness or badness in the world. Everybody is sort of taking their journey. So then, from that space onwards, we can just let everyone exist on their personal realm. But when we look at the other person, we go beyond their personality. And then the easiest way or the best way to do it is, first we find that we are not what we appear to be, but connect to the divinity within ourselves also. Everybody knows the food prayer. We sing many a times, we say, receive Lord in thy light the food we eat. There was a joke recently whether we should sing it once or twice. We decided once when we are super hungry, but otherwise, generally, it is good idea to sing it twice. When you really mean that prayer, it is not just done for fun part. But we say, receive Lord in thy light, in the food we eat. And what do we do after that actually? Generally, when you do this prayer, you are actually praying to the Lord. Receive Lord the food we eat, for it is thine. Infuse it. And after that, what do? We eat, isn't it? It is not like, if the Lord is out there somewhere, we say receive, receive, and that is, maybe we give him two chances. That's why at least we can justify singing it twice. Ki, "Bhai, if you don't come now and eat, I'm going to finish this off." We sing it, and after that we eat it. Mm. But I think there is more. Swamiji didn't write those words just like that. There is a story. I think we have you have heard the story for sure. This is a story of Vyasa, and Vyas was on this other side of Yamuna. You remember that story? And then Yamuna had a lot of water. On the other side, his Krishna ji was resting there, and a lot of gopis came to with butter, makhan, and they wanted to give it to Krishna, but they couldn't because Jamuna was in a very big, full blow. But they knew कि Vyas can help. He can figure it out. He is a पहुंचा हुआ sant. So they go to him, and then I'll cut the long story short. But they ask Vyasa कि we want to go there. He said, I am hungry too. Why don't you feed me a little? They're upset and thinking, what kind of a person is that? Guru को हम लोग लेके जा रहे हैं, and instead of Guru, he's saying, no, feed me. But they had to. So half of it goes to Vyasa. and But Vyasa keeps his promise and says, ki, dear Jamuna, if I have not eaten a cheese, divide up and part. And lo and behold, Jamuna parts. And these guys are very funny. Like a miracle happens. So many miracles happen. First, he said, I have not eaten, then part. She agreed. And there is a Jamuna parted. But these guys are interested in what going on the other side and giving it to Krishna. So they run away anyway. And what happens there? They go to Krishna. Krishna is almost going to take a nap now. They say, but we have brought you so much cheese. He says, like, but the other side, the guy already fed me enough. And this, I think, has something to do with our food prayer also. It is not that we prayed to the Lord and the Lord did not come, so we started eating. Actually, if you see, we all eat every day, isn't it? We eat. What is our contribution in the eating? We can say, yes, I chew, I put it in my mouth and I gulp. And after that, what happens to that food that we gulp? Something happens, isn't it? Actually, this happens. This entire form is born by that food. And who does that magic? Something happens. But most of the time we look at this magic as those gopis who were not interested. They were only interested in going and running to Krishna, and then very innocent love, but not enough, you see. And the magic is happening right here. In fact, our prayer is always getting answered. Every time when we say, receive Lord, and put the first nivala in our mouth and eat it, gulp it, that is where that prayer is already answered. He receives it. Not only receives it with love, he creates us through that. And this is a realization. You see, this is the awareness which this particular aphorism requires, seeing divine. It is not that I am serving the divine, it is actually divine serving the divine. And when though this word, and it's not an egotistical or egoistical word, it is a recognition that actually it is right here. The miracle and magic is happening right here in this form also, and in that form also. And while we anchor ourselves in that thought and letting that as our stable ground, then be personal. Because you see, in personality, there will always be goodness, there will be always be conflict. But what doesn't change is the divine part of both, the one who is serving and the one who is being served. And in that awareness, that yin and yang, or that completeness, will always, always be there. Okay. But I will share one more thing because I have little time. And with that interest, see, this is a conscious practice, and I would say ki you don't have to do it only when, for example, you are doing this particular seva with the trust. But see, if any of this resonates, then this can be taken into your homes or wherever it is. We in Palo Alto, when I was in Palo Alto, Asha ji, Nayaswami Asha, who is the spiritual director there, she thought of this exercise. She said, like, we all good friends with each other, but why do we always relate to each other as personally? Let's see if we can connect on the divine level. I said, okay. We all said, all right, how do we do it then? So she said, we'll just go and we will try to look each other in the eyes and try to look beyond form. Who is there? No need to speak any word, no need to share anything or strange. I just look into the eyes. So we were all enthusiastic, and that entire evening for half an hour, what did we do? There's some Swami's Om was playing in the backdrop. We just went. Same people, I knew all of them. I had many things to talk to them if I choose to, but all that was kept aside. Personality was kept aside, and just staring very deeply, gazing in each other's eyes, and try to see it. This isn't Divisha. This isn't Joita. That is a form I see, but there is something more into that form. It was a very profound exercise. Ashaji herself also came. I was in the southern booth, I remember. So I was a little concerned. She came and she started gazing. For a moment, I was a little uncomfortable. But then when I responded, see, this is the level of connection we want to exist in. When we, many a times, if you see Ananda people, they write an email or anything, the way it ends it's in divine friendship. I'm sure all of you also had friends before Ananda and after Ananda. What's the difference between the before Ananda friends? And again, I'm generalizing it too much, but that friendship was based on activity, like we used to go out Friday evenings, or the parties and whatnot. And the moment you stop doing that, they said, like, yeah, there is no basis now. I still like you, but you don't want to do any of these things. What can nurture our friendship? Hmm? The same thing now, if you see with Ananda, I'm sure you have some only Ananda friends also, meaning what? The friends that you found at Ananda. And some of them are also personally our friends, yet the connect is more than personal. When we come and hang out, all of a sudden we become silent because our hangout is now more in terms of chanting and meditation. And that is a very beautiful connection. This is the connection when we choose to connect divine to divine. Keep that in mind and see how you feel with your children, with your husband or wives, or any of your family. Rather than always looking at this as a personal responsibility, just for a moment, taking now there is a soul in there, and there's a soul in here, and then something is happening which is also beyond the personality. And then the more and more we live into that awareness, seeing Divine Mother in everything that we do becomes our reality. In that, there's a great fulfillment and satisfaction. Okay. And now I would request Divisha to do the reading and affirmation part.
Thank you so much, Amit, for such beautiful sharing. Let's all now practice the affirmation and the prayer from our Heart of Seva booklet. So I'll just read out the affirmation and then we'll practice it together. The affirmation is by Paramahansa Yogananda, and it says, "The great God whom I worship on the altar of the sky and the ocean, and on the altar of my own consciousness, he is manifest everywhere and in everyone. Him I embrace in all of his infinite forms." Okay, so let's sit upright and let's double inhale, tensing the entire body, and double exhale, release. Once more, let's double inhale, tense and vibrate with more energy this time. And double exhale, release and let go. Let's bring our gaze to the point between the eyebrows. We'll start by affirming loudly. And then as we go softer and take it mentally, let's increase the intensity of the affirmation and embody it fully. So let's affirm together. The great God whom I worship, on the altar of the sky and the ocean, and on the altar of my own consciousness, he is manifest everywhere and in everyone. Him I embrace in all of his infinite forms. Let's affirm in our normal voice. The great God whom I worship on the altar of the sky and the ocean, and on the altar of my own consciousness, he is manifest everywhere and in everyone. Him I embrace in all of his infinite forms. In a whisper now, feeling it more deeply. The great God whom I worship on the altar of the sky and the ocean, on the altar of my own consciousness, he is manifest everywhere and in everyone. Him I embrace in all of his infinite forms. Let's imbibe this mentally now. And let's visualize that we're actually embracing the infinite in all of its forms with love, with joy. And let's affirm, the great God whom I worship on the altar of the sky and the ocean, and on the altar of my own consciousness, he is manifest everywhere and in everyone. Him I embrace in all of his infinite forms. Just feel that natural love of your heart expanding and embracing all of God's creation. And now let's pray mentally. Make me feel thee in the budding hopes of rosy minds and the silence of saints. Make me the drops of sympathy in tearful eyes. Thou and I shall dance on the waves of feelings and cheer all hearts with divine delight. Thou and I shall be the throb of light in all souls. Let's meditate now on these words for the next 5 minutes. Let's visualize now a beautiful ray of light coming from the point between our eyebrows as well as from our heart. And let's share this light with all of our loved ones, our near and dear ones. Let's visualize them showered in this light. Let's bless everyone who's joined this meeting today. And let's also share this light with all the mothers of Vrindavan.
पापा
Let's expand this light further.
5 मिनट बैठेंगे खत्म होने वाली है
And also include our entire Ananda Sangha community, all of our brothers and sisters everywhere, to all seeking souls. Let's also visualize all of nature, all plants, animals, the sky, the ocean, the forests. Expand this light to cover every aspect of creation till you feel like there is no separation between you and everything else that exists. Let's be grateful now to our gurus for this beautiful path, for this lovely blessing and this opportunity to serve every day. Let's join our hands together, bowing down. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Whenever you're ready, gently open your eyes. Thank you so much, Amit, for today, and thank you everyone for joining the Seva Satsang. We will be sharing this Seva principle along with the affirmation and prayer on Facebook and also on our Circle of Love WhatsApp group. So after all of our calls, actually before our calls, let's try to tune into this. Let's take a minute to meditate on this affirmation prayer and remind ourselves to tune into this aspect of divinity within us and in the mothers that we speak. And please share whether practicing this changed your experience of Seva. So thank you so much, and we will see you next month.
So just one more thing for everyone. When you are doing your Circle of Love call to the mothers, that particular day, end of your call, do be aware of how this particular Seva principle has changed your call or changed your way of speaking to the mother or changed the way that you are serving anyone, whether it is in your office, in your life, in with your children, your husband, your in-laws, doesn't matter, anybody. And do put in a comment for us. So every day Sham shares that particular link with you all. So when you are doing your Seva call, then once you finish, do put in a comment of how it went and how this Seva principle that you're following for the month of December. Yeah, for the month of December, we are not in the new year yet, how that worked out. Okay, we look forward to hearing from all of you. Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you, Divisha. Thank you, everyone. All of you can, if you can just for a moment switch on your videos. I wanted to take a quick picture of all of You beautiful people. You all are, I mean, we cannot thank you enough, guys. Our mothers are so happy, and that happiness is because of you. Okay, so I just wanted to take a quick picture of everybody. All right. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Om Guru.
Om Guru, Om Guru.
So much. Om Guru.
Thank you.
Good night, Jaita.
Good night, Maruk. Thank you, Maruk. Bye-bye.
Thank you for giving this seva opportunity. In fact, I have recommended one more name on Rilla. She'll be joining.
Okay.
She-
I know Oindrila has been trying to get in touch with me. Okay, I will write to her because I just got so busy. She was trying to call me and then she WhatsApped me. I didn't respond to her. Thank you for reminding me. I'll write to her right now.
Yes, and then I told Sham to send the form or something. I was doing this seva for inspiring a lifetime follow-up. So then she was interested. So her attitude, I thought she may be interested in this seva, and she's a Bengali. She said,
Yeah,
yes.
it will be very nice. They can communicate easily.
So she was very happily agreed to it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Maruk. Bye. Have a good evening. Bye, Divisha.
Bye.
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 Bye.